Hello everyone, I'm Neil Bartee, conductor of the Delta Symphony Orchestra. And I'm excited today to announce that the Delta Symphony is presenting a series of videos explaining all the instruments of the orchestra. It's actually called Meet the Orchestra. We're going to have professional players from the symphony in this area come and demonstrate the instruments, how they make their sound, what they're made of, and their role in the symphony orchestra. So this will be a series of videos you'll be able to access from the Delta Symphony Orchestra. First, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the conductor and the role of the conductor. Most of the time you see the conductor this way from the audience. And etc. But today I'm going to explain what you might see if you were in the orchestra and watching the conductor from the front in this way. The conductor is basically the leader of the ensemble when you see the performances. He's on stage helping the musicians make sure they're started at the right time with the preparation for the start, and everything ends at the right time, and all the timings in between and expression of the music that's involved. So you will see things like this. Just starting, preparatory beats, you'll see cutoffs, and you'll see even the left hand doing some things separately from the right hand. This indicates sometimes when musicians will come in here, and the character of the entrance over here when musicians come in that way. So all this is involved. It's called the gesture or the physical motion of the conductor. I want to show you next, though, what we look at when we are performing music. The conductor looks at what's called the musical score. And this is actually the visual presentation of all the instruments of the orchestra. And it's arranged in this way. The woodwinds are on the top, the flutes are on the top, most of the time a piccolo also plays in the flute section. The oboes are next, sometimes there's an English horn. The clarinets are next, and many times a bass clarinet. The bassoons have its own section and a contrabassoon. The brass section is next, with the horns on top, the French horns. The trumpets, sometimes it's called pistons, cornets, trumpets, usually in orchestra. And then you have the lower brass, the trombones, and the tuba section. Now below that you have the percussion instruments. A lot of times there's a timpani, there are pitched instruments like bells, marimbas, keyboard instruments, and other side instruments like the bass drum, snare drum, triangle, and special effects. And then many times in the orchestra there will be a harp, which it will be a string instrument really, but and a lot of times in that same place will be another keyboard instrument, or possibly a piano or another keyboard instrument like that. At the bottom, the string section is shown here, actually 5 lines. There are 2 violin sections, the first violin and the second violin section, the viola section, the cello section, and the string bass. You'll hear demonstrations on all of these instruments. So the conductor is watching this all at one time while everybody is playing, and basically you see these lines up and down here as well. These are called the bar lines as the music is measured off, and the conductor is showing in his gesture where these bar lines are. That helps keep everybody in place. I wanted to show you how they do that. Basically, the conductor has certain signals that are shown to organize this music, to show how the music is organized by the composer. Many times it's divided into patterns of 4, 3, or 2. So the conductor shows that in groups like this. If it's in 4, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. A definite pattern where every time it goes down, straight down like that, that is the bar line. That helps the musicians know exactly where they are in the measure. There could also be expressive patterns, like a 4 could be shown a little bit more like this, side to side if it's real smooth music. It could also be shown like this if it's choppier music or more staccato. There's patterns of 3. If music is grouped into patterns of 3, it's called a triple meter. And that's shown by a down, right, and up. A down, right, up. So you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Always 1 is down. That helps the musicians in the orchestra as they're looking at their music, reading it, and watching the conductor, they know exactly where we are. Then the basic pattern of 2 is down, up, down, in and bounce up, down, bounce, down, up. Okay, how'd you like to try that with me? Let's see what you can do. If you can do these patterns like that with me, try a little bit of conducting the beats. So I'm going to show you from the side. Maybe you can kind of watch me and do your right hand like this. Here's the 4 pattern, going down, left, right, up. Down, left, right, up. So it looks like this in front of you. If I were to mirror you and you're trying to do it with me, you could do it this way. You're going to your down, to the left, to the right, up. Try that. 2, 3, 4. Try a big 4 beat, really smooth. 2, 3, 4. How about a short, choppy one? 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Good. That's some good practice for you. Now, if you'd like to try a 3 beat, do this with me. We're going with the baton in the right hand, which if you don't have a baton, you can just use your hand. But do this going down to your right, then in and bounce up. Down, right, in and bounce up. Down to your right, in, 1. It's almost a little bit like a triangle. 1, 2, 3. Try to bounce at the same basic point, at level down here, so it's real clear where you're going to see the beat. 2, 3. Or a 2 beat. Try one more pattern with me. This 2 beat is sometimes used in a lot of marches. 1, 2, 1, 2. Basically a down, bounce back up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Looking at it this way. If you'd like to mirror me and try it with your right hand. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Good. So that gives you a little practice on what to do. The conductors eventually get their hands going with the beat on one, and sometimes the other hand is independent with expression, which could mean less sound or lighter. It could give you more sound or more intensity, or it could be a smoother type of style of playing. So those things are important there in the conductor's expression. And those are the score things, a thing that you've seen from the score organized by bar lines, but within the bar and from the beginning to the end of the piece, we've got to show the character of the music or the expression of it. This is the important part. Now the musicians in the orchestra are all reading the music. They have practiced, they have an idea of what to play, how loud and soft or short and long or quick or slow. But the conductor emphasizes that, reflects that in his patterns. Now if you want to learn how to do expressive conducting, you can try a little bit of this. If we're timing a movement, that's one of the factors of expression is timing, along with the dynamics of the loud and soft or the articulation, smooth and staccato. But the timing, the conductor can show a very slow kind of beat. If he takes a lot of space in front of his body, lets it go outward like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That would be slow, or you could be in it quick like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So fast and slow are the important factors in timing of music. And we have a lot of terms in music as well that are in foreign language. So for example, if we were doing the slow one, that could be an adagio, that's an Italian term, or a fast one would be allegro. So this language is important for the conductor as well. There's a lot of Italian, French, German terms. If you wanted to show then the dynamics of music, this is the loud and soft. Say, for example, you could show a loud by a heavy beat, a feeling in your body of heaviness. You're pushing down, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. You're thinking downward this way, 1, 2, 3. Have a very determined stance and a serious looking face. Or you could lighten up a little bit, 2, 3, 1, 2, and this has kind of a rising sensation as if you're floating and going upward like that. So it shows a lighter dynamic or softer. Actually, it's musical terms come into play here too. You may have heard the term forte and piano. Well, forte means loud in Italian, and piano means soft, even though piano is an instrument we know as well. So forte and piano, loud and soft. You can do that. And then the style of music, as I mentioned a while ago, can be moved very smoothly. We call that legato in music. So if you do this, you widen out a little bit, you show this expression, you round off your beats like this, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4 in this pattern, or whatever pattern you're in, or a faster tempo, or a louder dynamic, but it can be shown that way. The opposite of that we call staccato. So legato is the smooth, staccato you narrow in like this, and you can show it in a quick way or a very pointed kind of way like this. You can also use the left hand to show this expression. You can show louder, softer, clearer, and a point to the beat like that. So those things are important in showing the style of conducting. Actually, that's your conducting style that shows the character of the music.
Why do some conductors use a baton, but some only use their hands?
Okay, that's a good question. I commonly hear that. Why does the conductor use a baton, and what is it good for? And actually, I want to make sure you know the name of baton. It's not a wand or a stick or anything magic about it, but it's a little piece of wood or plastic that extends the arm here. A lot of orchestra band conductors use a baton. Sometimes the groups are very large, and it's quite a distance between their seeing the conductor and where they're sitting. So it helps in giving a visible clarity at longer distances. It can also help to focus in on the point of the beat, and if you want to give just a really clear point, focusing in right here, then the baton helps you with that. So choral conductors usually do not use a baton. They just use their hands. It can be very expressive without a baton, and sometimes the more intimate music can be shaped without that. Sometimes the orchestra conductors don't use a baton. Sometimes choral conductors do use a baton. So it's optional, but a lot of times the instrumental directors use the baton.
Why did you want to conduct instead of playing an instrument?
I started out, as a lot of you may have or will do, as an instrumental player or a singer. Actually started out singing and playing piano a little bit earlier, but began to play the trombone in organizations like bands and orchestras. So sitting in the back, a lot of times the trombone player has rest and nothing to play. So I began watching the conductor and was just enchanted by how he can help control the music and the sounds by not making a sound, by only using gestures. And so this was fascinating to me, and I thought, I'd like to be in charge of that someday. Maybe I could have some influence on musical interpretation, how composers' music should sound, and be able to relate to the musicians to get them to do the sound together, and eventually to bring the characteristic sound across to the audience on the other side. That is your main goal, to be expressive and to communicate that, all the different things that can be expressed in life. That can be shown in music. All right, thanks for watching today, and I hope you get to watch all the series of instruments the Delta Symphony Orchestra is doing. We do live concerts, and I hope hope that you are able to attend those sometime, because there's nothing like being in the audience when the musicians are performing live on stage. So thanks again, and we hope that you enjoyed these videos. I hope you enjoyed this video about the instruments of the orchestra. If you like this one, please check out our other videos and give us a like and subscribe to our channel.